Let us see. Let us see. Take this to Twitter. Alright, let's see. How many? No people yet? Okay. I'll wait a little bit. Yo, what's up? Yeah, we're doing What If Deku was Spawn Final today, so I'm gonna wait for some people to get in here, and then we're gonna get started. So, yeah. This is gonna be fun. I at least want like 10 people in here before we get started, so let me go and share that shit out there real quick. Alright. Nah, man. No, I'm not sleepy. I had my coffee. Man, we're good. Just gonna wait. Yep. Yes, it's been a while, but we're finally back with it. Yeah. So, I'm about to give you guys a fat ass recap because I just got done rewatching my part 3 to this because I had no idea where I left it off at. So, but I already got where I want to end this too. So, yeah, we're going to be here for a while. So, I hope you guys got some snacks. No cap. But, okay, it looks like this is as many people as we're going to get. So, we're just going to go ahead and start off with a recap. So, where we last left it off, where Ida was killed by Stain and was given an offer by Heaven. And the offer was to become the Redeemer, the anti-spawn, if you think about it. Because Ida is tasked with killing both Al Simmons and Izuku Midoriya, as they are both spawns. And Al Simmons in the past caused a lot of trouble for Heaven. So this is something that they're really just wanting to do out of revenge. To just say, fuck you, Al. Because this is just something that Al set upon himself. And with Deku. But Deku did get pretty much his revenge on the Violator for killing his parents. Which, yes, Violator did end up raping Inko before he killed her. And that's what really pissed Deku off. As pretty much he's accepting Aizawa's offer to go back to UA. As we both know, Aizawa can expel and re-enroll people at will. So he just re-enrolls Deku. And Mineta, he's still in a fucking coma. He's not waking up at all, ever. Anytime soon. So, with that recap out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into What If Deku Was Spawn, the final part. And where we're going to start off is a few weeks have passed after Deku killed the Violator and after Ida gained his powers as the Redeemer. So he's pretty much not talking to anybody anymore. Ida's just full lockdown on his goals because he's wanting to hunt. He's wanting to kill both spawns, but he knows that he needs the element of surprise. And Deku, he's joining up after the final exams. So Deku's not taking part in any of the final exams whatsoever. As for Ida, he passes his, but he doesn't let anybody know he has new powers. So he's actually very physically strong, but also very emotionally driven now because his life is in the balance. If he ever wants to get to heaven and stay there permanently after he dies, he needs to kill both spawns, and he needs this so that way he's not just left for dead again. But Deku's finally attending UA, and the first person he meets at the door is Midnight. As Midnight tells him, you sure know how to keep a girl waiting. You haven't accepted my offer one bit. And Deku says, I've been busy. Got some things going on I had to take care of, but don't worry. You'll see me shortly. And Midnight says, you said that 2 weeks ago. And Deku says, did I now? Oh well. As Deku finally walks into Class 1A again, as everyone just looks at him like, how the hell are you back in here? As Tokiyami says, hey Izuku. As Deku says, hey Tokiyami, what's up? As Aizawa tells him to have a seat, and Deku does. As he tells him that Nezu's not too happy about him being back, but at the same time, he really doesn't care. Because, for one, it's his decision. 2, you're a great asset that could help a lot of heroes in the future. So, he just tells him right off the bat that Nezu can go suck a dick. This is his decision, and he's sticking with it. As Deku says, now you're starting to sound like a man. As Aizawa says, well, of course. Can't be a man if I'm taking fucking bitch orders from a Mickey Mouse reject. As pretty much the days would go on as Deku would be allowed on the training camp trip. So that's where he's going to go. Man, fucking sneeze right in the middle of a recording. That's fucking lovely. But oh well. So pretty much Deku's getting ready to go on the trip as he tells Al that pretty much he's going to be gone for a while. And Al says, alright, sure. He's got some things that he wants to check up on. And while Deku's on his trip over there, because he's riding the bus with the rest of the students, him and Tokiyami have a lot of catching up to do. As something in hell is stirring. As Malboja looks and says, this is impossible. This is amazing. He's perfected. He's ready. As he looks as his newest hellspawn crawls out of the flames. But there's something wrong. This one's too powerful. As he's not like the normal spawns. Instead, he has horns on his head. He's more brutal. He has an evil grin. As he says, I'm going to kill All Might. As Malboja says, no, you're going to kill spawns. As the new one would look up and would say, you don't get it. I'm not taking orders from you anymore. You're taking orders from me. As Malboja would say, fool, do you know who I am? And that's when the man tears Malboja's head off as he says, I do, and I just don't care. As he sits on Malboja's throne, as he says, I am the Omega spawn. You can call me Tomura Shigaraki. As he sits there and laughs uncontrollably. As the Violator, while he's back in hell after being killed, he looks, and this isn't what he would want. Not at all. As basically back at the trip, the bus is there now. And he's just sitting as he's like, Tokiyami, what the fuck are we doing in the middle of nowhere? As Tokiyami says, I don't know, they didn't tell us where we were going. Just, come on. They get off the bus, and they're the last two, as Ida says, "What took you so long?" As Deku's just like, don't worry about it, fuckface. As pretty much, Ida says, "Whatever, demon child." And Deku's like, "The fuck?" And Ida just looks at him and says, "You're not so strong anymore." As Deku's like, "Oh, really? How you figure?" As Ida just takes Deku by his shirt and throws him off the ledge. As Deku's surprised that he just got thrown when he didn't want to. He's like, "The fuck?" As he gets down onto the ground, as that's when all the golems start coming out, as they're just like, "Oh shit," and Aizawa says, "No, he got it." As Deku would tear all the golems apart with the chains coming out of his body. He would change into a spawn suit, which is basically the one on the thumbnail, just no cape, because Deku's chosen not to wear a cape anymore. Just so him and Al can be distinguished. So, basically, Deku starts just blowing through them all, because he wants to blow off some steam now, as Ida jumps down there, right off the cliff, like, just straight jumps off and lands perfectly and starts running. And Deku's like, "You son of a bitch. How the fuck did you get so strong?" As Ida says, "You have your secrets, I have mine." But during the run, like, Ida starts to fight with Deku, as it starts out as just like pushing each other back and forth, but it then turns into a full-on fist fight, with Deku throwing Ida through several trees, Ida getting back up, catching Deku's chains, and throwing him into the ground, as the two go back and forth until Ida finally puts on his symbiote, the Redeemer suit. And you guys can just look that up, because I ain't got a picture of it right now, so sorry, but As Deku's like, "A purple cape, golden armor with black. Oh, and you reek of divine power." As Ida says, "Yeah, power enough to kill you." As he hits Deku with the divine flames. As Deku gets hurt and knocked back. He's just like, "Oh, fuck." As he's looking, and he's pissed now. He just goes straight for Ida. As he gets the spikes on his knuckles to grow out into full-on weapons. As him and Ida start tearing into each other, blow after blow, blood splattering through the forest. Ida sets the forest on fire with his divine flames. As Deku just keeps tearing him apart, ectoplasm blast after ectoplasm blast. His magic tearing into Ida as well. But Ida's just as strong and just as durable, so he can take it. Along with his speed, Ida actually has a slight edge on Deku. But Deku's edge is his experience dealing with the symbiotes of heaven and hell. Wearing the spawn suit since he was born, well, that's given him about 18 years of experience with it. So that's more than enough to him to have the edge on Ida. As Ida would try, and Deku's calm now, so he's not going to be as sloppy anymore. He takes Ida's arm and he breaks it. He kicks his leg in, breaking his leg as he takes Ida's head and slams it against his knee. As he trips his good leg, and Ida's falling back as Deku takes his fist and slams it into Ida's head onto the ground, causing a huge crater, several trees falling. With the forest burning and trees are falling, no one can put out this forest fire that Ida has started. So they have to wait for the fucking fire department to get there, which at that point it's a huge fire. They're spending hours putting out the fire. And pretty much Deku just comes right back out of the woods holding Ida and throwing him up there. And Aizawa says, "Gosh damn it, I let you in to UA and you start a forest fire?" Deku says, "I didn't do shit. He did." As Ida would still be in his Redeemer outfit, knocked out, but still wearing it nonetheless. As Aizawa says, "Who is that?" Because his face is covered, so pretty much like Deku rips off the mask and it shows Ida's face. As pretty much Ida's just knocked out. His bones are healing because of his, Redeemer suit, having heaven's powers and all that. And it's pretty much like Ida's questioned heavily as like he just says that he got the power after Stain killed him and was resurrected. That's all he's gonna say. And pretty much like the training camp has to be postponed till they get the forest fire under control, which they do eventually. And the training camp is still on because they just can't cancel it right off the bat, because that would just like look way too suspicious. So Deku is pretty much just there, and he's honestly just chilling because Aizawa's told him like don't get involved any further than you already are, as him and Tokiyami would just be training together. So him and Tokiyami are in the deep forest cave as Deku's training Tokiyami on how to keep Dark Shadow under control. As with Deku there, Tokiyami could actually make leaps and bounds from the training camp, even more so than he did originally. So pretty much like with Deku's help, Tokiyami gets up to about where he is in the manga now, but right there in like the training camp arc. As Ida is seriously questioned more and more, but they're not getting anything out of him. As Al Simmons is looking around and just hunting down criminals in the city. And then he's grabbed from behind and slammed into a wall. As he looks and sees, what? Who the fuck just did that? As pretty much he looks and sees something he never thought he'd see again. Omega Spawn. As basically this spawn still has a quirk, so he does have the decay touch as well. So pretty much like Shigaraki's just beating on Al like everything that he's got. Like he's stronger than Al, faster than Al. His symbiote just was born literally not even a fucking month ago. So really he's just like overwhelming everyone at this point. Heroes are coming in as Shigaraki's slaughtering them all. They're just lambs to the slaughter for him. As Al tries to fight back, Shigaraki tears his arm off. Al screams out in pain as he says, "You motherfucker!" And Shigaraki takes him and says, "Go back to hell." As he holds on to Al as he starts to decay. But this time the decay is ripped with hell's energy. So when he kills Al, Al won't be coming back. As Al just starts to crumble away and turn to dust, he dies. As Shigaraki is grinning. And he says, "That's right, Master. I need to see how he's doing." As Shigaraki would head off, killing any hero that got in his way. Which, that means, when Endeavor gets called and he finds Shigaraki, well, Endeavor has his leg ripped off, his arm tore clean off the bone. As his head is grabbed by Shigaraki, as he digs his nails into his skull, as he's crushing it, as he slowly starts to rip it apart, slowly enough for Endeavor to feel every ounce of pain, as he splits his skull in half. Shigaraki says, "I can kill the number 2 hero, then I can kill All Might." As basically he gets back to where All for One is, as he says, "Master, I'm here." As All For One would say, "Who the hell are you?" As he would say, "It's me, Shigaraki." As All For One would be happy as he would say, "My boy, look at how strong you've grown." And pretty much, he's just like, "What the hell? What happened to you?" As Shigaraki says, "I was reborn in hell, granted more power than even you could possibly imagine. Now, why don't we kill All Might?" As All For One would say, "I thought you'd never ask." As pretty much, it's just like him going, and they actually get to the training camp. All For One's not wasting any time. He wants to draw All Might out, and he wants him now. And putting his precious little students in jeopardy is just what he asked for. So, they would get there, thanks to Kurogiri. As Omega Spawn Shigaraki, All For One as well would walk in there. And since, Dabi, Toga, Twice, Spinner, and all them only joined up because of Stain, like, they wouldn't be joining, but Muscular would still be there. And pretty much just like he's going through the forest, and Shigaraki's just like tearing the place apart. He gives no fucks. He wants murder, and he's going to get it. As that's when Class 1B arrives, later than usual, because they had to really think if they were actually going to go through with joining Class 1A because of the fire. They ultimately ended up just going. So, heading on down to where they are, they run across the villains as Vlad radios Aizawa and tells the students to run, but Shigaraki won't allow it. So, he goes over there and grabs most of the students. The first one he grabs is Tetsu, as he takes his neck and his legs as he tears him in half, throwing his body down. And that's while Tetsu's quirk was activated. The next person to die would be Monoma, as Shigaraki would take his hell chains and tear through Monoma's body, tearing it piece from piece, and then throwing it across. Other ones he would grab and decay. All For One would easily take Vlad's quirk and kill him on sight. The next ones to die would be all the other no-named ones, as he would start getting to Satsuna, Pony, Reiko, Kendo, as he would start tearing them apart, brutally killing them. Their screams and their blood would be pouring and drenching the forest floor. Their intestines would line all the burnt trees, as Shigaraki would keep moving forward, having killed all of the students and all of the heroes that were there with them. As he would head to the main camp where the Wild Pussycats are, Aizawa would be there as well as the Redeemer and Spawn. Deku would try to contact Al, but notice he's not here anymore. He's dead. So, he would rush at them, as he would pretty much hear Aizawa's call from Vlad. Well, Vlad's call to Aizawa. You know what I mean. As pretty much Deku would just lunge at him, as Ida would come right there with him, but Ida would see Omega Spawn. As Deku would launch himself right at Shigaraki, it would just get sent flying back. And pretty much Deku's just like, how is he this strong? Ida says, "Dumbass, let me show you how you hurt a Spawn." As he would pour on the hellfire. As it would hurt Shigaraki, yes, But Shigaraki would just walk through it, grab Ida, and stomp him into the ground. He would be about to kill him, but Deku would just go over there and punch him straight in the face so hard, he would actually send him back a few feet. As All For One would say, "This looks interesting," as he would tell Muscular to go on ahead and have his fun. As Muscular would say, "I thought you'd never ask." And pretty much, Muscular would blitz, as Kodo would be up there on his little mountaintop as well, but Muscular wouldn't be there, so Kodo would be safe for now. But as Muscular got closer and closer, he would be intercepted by Tiger, and the two would start a full-out fist fight. But Tiger would start getting too weak, as Muscular would overpower him, and that's when Aizawa would come in, taking him and throwing him down, as Tiger would just immediately just land combo after combo, knocking Muscular out, as basically Shoto would flash freeze him while he's unconscious to just keep him there, like not moving. And basically they would see Deku being thrown all the way from the forest straight into the building as he would crash. And Deku would say, "The fuck?" as Ida would come rolling in into the mountainside, as he would say, "How are they this strong?" As they would both fall unconscious. As pretty much Shigaraki, with the Omega Spawn, would come in, as he would tear Aizawa's arms clean off. But he doesn't want to kill Aizawa. Oh no. He wants to send a message. So he lets Aizawa live, as he cauterizes the wounds, closing them off so he doesn't bleed out. Which means Aizawa doesn't have his arms anymore, so he can no longer fight. As Aizawa would lie on the ground unconscious from the pain. As All For One would say, "Let's see, how many quirks can I harvest from these children before they die?" As Deku would be falling in and out of consciousness, as he would see Tokiyami from All For One have his quirk forcibly ripped from him. And Tokiyami would be in so much pain, as Shigaraki would crush his head, killing him. Deku would be enraged, as he would be trying to move. He would say, "Move, you damn body, move!" As tears would fall down his eyes, but he wouldn't be able to move. He'd be too injured. His healing factor's not healing him fast enough. Ito would see all of his friends being slaughtered, as he would say, "Heaven, give me more power. I need to save them." As Heaven would say, "No." As Ito would realize, he's just a pawn. They don't care about him. They never cared if he lived or died. As tears would fall down his face. As Deku would finally fall fully unconscious, Ida as well, as all of the students were slaughtered, their quirks stolen, and the villains left. By the time All Might got there, he would see nothing but a massacre, a sight so horrifying it would leave him scarred for the rest of his short life, as he would see countless students slaughtered, endless potential wasted, as they would just go over and over and looking at them. And then he would see Deku lying on the ground and Ida over there stuck inside of a mountain, as pretty much those would be the only two survivors. As All Might would help Deku up, as he would sit him down and wake him up, as Deku would say, What where do they go? And All Might would say, who? Who did this? Tell me, young Midoriya. As Midnight would also be there, and she would say, stop it, All Might. You have to let him regain his composure. Now chill. Go and check on the other one. As Deku would say, it was someone who had another spawn suit. Stronger, though. He had more power than I could ever get. He was even stronger than Al. As Deku just says that he doesn't know if he can beat him. As basically Midnight says, you have to. You're the only one strong enough to even stand a chance. As he looks at Eden and says, I'm gonna need his help. Which means he's gonna need to stop trying to kill me and want to help me. As they would just say, yeah, I think it's about time you two put aside your petty differences. So, Ida would be woken up by All Might as Deku would walk over to Ida and would say, we're gonna go kill that son of a bitch, right? As Ida would say, yeah, he's gonna pay. And Deku says, just one question. You're not gonna try to kill me, are you? Ida would say no. He dies. You can live. You never did anything like this. Heaven has forsaken me. So, I don't know how much longer I'll have these powers, but here, as he burns Deku's symbiote with holy divine flames, granting Deku a much-needed power-up. As he would say, alright, I did what I can. As Deku would now have divine flames and demonic flames burned into his symbiote, granting him even greater powers. As he would say, you know, I feel like I'm strong enough to tear God out of heaven today. As he would say, let's go kill that son of a bitch. As they would teleport off, All Might would say, follow them, now. As they would be back into the city, the two would have their phones and exchange phone numbers. As they would say, alright, call the other one when we find them. As Ida says yes, as they split up. Deku would search all of the west side of Japan, as Ida would take all of the east. Deku would take the south, Ida would take the north. They would meet back up in the middle. As they would scour all of Japan looking. But Ida would call Deku and say he found them. As Deku would teleport right to where Ida is. As he would see a little bar. And inside of it, they could sense the Omega Spawn's evil power. So, they'd hit the ground and walk right in. The police would get there moments behind them, as they would say, hold it, you two. You're not going in there. As, basically, Deku says, who's going to stop us? And police says, we will. Deku and Ida both turn around and say, you're welcome to try. Take your best shot. And that's when All Might gets there and says, no, none of this. As they say, All Might, what do you mean none of this? As All Might says, I need their help. You guys can keep that Spawn dude busy. All for one, he's mine. And this time, I'm not here to take him in. He dies today. As Deku would say, then take this. As he would pull out a pistol and would hand it to All Might. As All Might would say, where did you get this? As Deku would say, he went by his house. That's where Al hid the guns at. As he would hand All Might both divine pistols. As he says, they're 50 caliber. You could probably only shoot one round each. from your arm before your bones get shattered. All Might says, I'm feeling stronger today. As All Might would have injected himself with several steroids, boosting his strength even more. So, yeah, he's ready. As basically, All Might would break down the fucking bar, as Shigaraki and All For One would look at him and say, All Might, did you like that little present I gave you? All Might wouldn't talk. He would immediately blitz All For One, as the Omega Spawn was going to get right in his way. Deku used his chains to wrap around his arm and throat, and as Ito and Deku would pull him right out of the way and into the fighting place. As All For One would level the entire city block, as Deku would say, you know, today you die. As Ida and Deku would start just making blow after blow land on the Omega Spawn, Shigaraki. Shigaraki would try to hit them, but now that they fought him before, they're not going to lose twice. Deku would take his chains, wrap it around his arm. Ida would unload a divine fire after divine fire blast, weakening Shigaraki more and more. As Deku would use his magic, just tearing into the Omega Spawn. As that's when he realizes Al had another weapon. As he calls upon the demonic great sword, as he picks it up, and he slashes Shigaraki's arm clean off with it. Shigaraki's in pain as he yells out. All For One would look and say, the hell? As Ida would say, there's another thing. As he would make a divine fire lance, as he would impale Shigaraki with it, burning the insides and burning his symbiote, as Deku would chop off his legs, as he would impale the greatsword through his back and out his chest, with the lance through his stomach and out his back. As Shigaraki would be on the ground in pain, the blood dripping from him, as he would feel like he's dying all over again. As Deku would say, you don't get off that easy. As he would take his horns, as he would snap his neck and would get on top of his shoulders, taking basically a stance squat, as he would dig his feet into Shigaraki's shoulders, as he would lift up with all his might, tearing his head right off of his body, along with his spine clean out. As he would show this to every camera across the world, holding it up like Sub-Zero does after a fatality. As he would say, this man is not a threat any longer. Throwing it down as Ida would crush his skull beneath his boot. As back over there with All For One, basically All Might has no chance. He gets frozen and then burned. He gets hit with Bakugo's explosion, the air blast. All Might's bleeding as he's coughing out blood more and more out of his mouth. He realizes his time limit's going further and further away. All those steroids he took, they're not helping. They're not enough. And that's when he just kills him. And All Might is dead. Deku takes his chains and wraps it around All For One, decapitating him, killing him on the spot. After this whole fight, the Hero Society would be in shambles. UA would be dismantled as Hero Society would be reformed. Heroes would now have a kill license at any opportunity, would be very well trained. It would not be allowed to take any prisoners. Not after this. All For One literally just ruined everything. He's made society more brutal, more cutthroat. And now, they're not taking any prisoners when it comes to villains. Which means when Overhaul happens, he's immediately met with extreme prejudice, as they know they have to take Eri back. But it's not fucking Mirio and Night Eye that get the license to go in after him. It's Deku and Ida. Ida would actually be blessed by the heavens, allowing him to keep his Redeemer suit. So the top two heroes would be Spawn and Redeemer, as they would be tasked with taking in Overhaul, dead or alive. As Ida would go and rescue Eri, Deku would just be blowing through all of Overhaul's minions, just blast after blast after blast, as he would get to Chisaki and just tear his head off. No words, just death. As pretty much that's how the rest of society would formulate. They would adopt the kill on sight order for all villain activity, as society would honor Spawn as their greatest hero. And that's it. That's What If Deku Was Spawn. I hope you guys enjoyed. Anyway, so now that that's over, if you guys have like any questions or any remarks you want to make about the Spawn final, I'll hear them out and answer all your guys' questions as well. So let's go with it. Thank you for the happy birthday. Yeah, I was born on St. Patrick's Day. So, yep. Okay. What happens between Deku and Midnight is like they do eventually get together, but I mean, Deku doesn't really have time. He's wanting to clean everything up because while Midnight is there, like she's just there to really support Deku as she's not on board with the whole killing thing, so she would retire effective immediately and would be Deku's wife pretty much. So, and that's what happens between Midnight and Deku. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and then go back live with Green Goblin. So right now, this is my break between the what ifs. Just let my head clear out before I go back into Green Goblin, and we're gonna do that final live as well. So today we're just gonna wrap up as many series as possible. So what'd you guys think of the Spawn episode part today? Did you guys like it or what? Nice. Love to hear it. Hmm. All right, let's see. Now that that's out of the way. Alright, got any more comments about the Spawn episode that we just finished up, or we all good with that? Yo, literally, yeah, if anyone says that they hate Spawn, like, you're missing out on greatness. Like, gosh damn it. And I'll tell you this right now, like when I do my multiverse, what if look out for Constantine Deku versus Spawn Deku, because that will happen. Yeah, Spawn is an amazing character. So, how do we like the Endeavor death scene? The Cultured podcast will probably be this weekend, so look out for that. Hey, Damien, thank you. Man. So, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream right here, and in like 15 minutes, we're going to go back live with the Green Goblin one. So I'm gonna get that set up and use the restroom and get ready for that one. So, all right, people, I'll fucking go out here and I'll tweet it out or post it on the Discord whenever I'm going live. So, all right, people, yeah, I'll see you then.